Hello and welcome to round 7 of the F1 2018 Equal Cars Career Mode, and it takes us to a sunny Belgium as we go to this race. Of course, the two Mercedes drivers, after getting a double podium, are now 1 and 2 in the driver standings, followed by the likes of Leclerc, Vettel and Alonso. So your usual top 5, to be honest. I think Bottas has been punching well above his weight, to be honest. I wouldn't have expected him to be as high as he has been in the last few races. Even so, he's actually taken advantage of the pit lane on numerous occasions, as once again we will retire from the session as we're going to be commentating as we let Shady Onyx do all the driving. And you can see actually out of turn 1, Hamilton is in last place. Oh my goodness. And Shady Onyx as well not getting the best start off the line. He's down in 18th, but you can see that's actually Vettel, Verstappen and Alonso. So arguably my picks for some of the greatest drivers of all time alongside Hamilton. So yeah, I think Alonso, Verstappen, Vettel, Hamilton, probably the best 4 on the grid right now. And you can see Verstappen and Alonso right behind Vettel. But you can see Carlos Sainz for once is having a good qualifying. But Hamilton is all the way down in 19th place. And the guy who's been so dominant in the last few races, the guy who's now taken the lead, is now finds himself right at the back. And so does Bottas and Raikkonen. This is like a complete upset of the podium of Silverstone, of course. You had Vettel and Alonso doing quite badly in qualifying. And Raikkonen, Bottas and Hamilton cementing your podium. But now you got the likes of Hulkenberg, all of the people who did well last time, struggling this race. And both Red Bulls are actually 3rd and 4th respectively, as Ricciardo overtakes Sainz. And you see Gasly as well is doing quite well, and Leclerc up inside the top 7. Ocon will round out your top 8, and you can see Perez just behind him. So Ocon for once actually doing better than his teammate. He's actually been outperformed quite a lot of times. You can see Ricciardo now ahead of Max Verstappen. So Max Verstappen beginning to fall through the order. He was 2nd at one point, but now it's between Alonso and Vettel. Alonso, of course, been quite good in quite a lot of qualifying sessions, to be honest. But normally when Alonso does well in qualifying, Ricciardo also does well. But this time they've got Vettel ahead of him, because of course we've seen Alonso and Ricciardo qualify 1-2 quite a few times, as Verstappen's actually going to get Ricciardo on the line. Both Red Bulls are going to be side by side as they cross the finish line, and Verstappen actually gets it in the end, as once again the whole grid separated by not that much, as Shady Onyx actually gets 10th, and for once, the ever so dominant AI in qualifying have actually been trumped by a human. Of course, if you don't know, AI in this game are so fast in qualifying compared to the race. So what a drive there to get 10th place by Shady Onyx. And that's his best qualifying of the season by a long way, out qualifying the likes of Raikkonen, Bottas. But I think most of all, Hamilton, who's now 1.3 seconds behind the lead, and that's absolutely shocking for the guy who's currently leading the championship. He's literally nearly as bad as Ericsson. I don't know how, but Ericsson always manages to find himself in last place. Even when he qualifies in P11, he still is last place into turn 1, and today is no exception. As once again, you see both Red Bulls very close in the end, only separated by 1 frame. So yeah, very close indeed. Of course, we saw them chopping positions at the end. Not quite the the top 3 separated by 0.004 of a second, I think we saw in Austria, but again, it is quite close. Actually, probably the biggest spread of the top 7, top 8, I would say, because normally they're inside the 0.2 of each other, but you can see the whole field actually spread by a second and a half. So I think that's Grosjean, Hamilton's and Ericsson's fault. Everyone else is within 0.8 of each other. Even Van Dorn and Hartley are within 0.8 of the leaders. So that's basically it for qualifying. So Shady Onyx is in a really good position, and for once he could be in line for a podium. We know how aggressive he is with some of his overtakes, and the AI aren't exactly good in the race. So as long as he's careful into turn 1 and doesn't lose his front wing on anyone.
Oh, what?
As he
No.
I think this is actually one of our first fully wet
That's why they
races.
were so slow.
Oh. No, because normally they do go the dry setup if it is dry quali. But yeah, you can see it's a fully wet race, and we haven't had this in a long time. I don't think we've had it
Drying out towards the end though.
Oh, so it is another
It's
interchangeable
gonna
race.
be wet into slick. Watch.
Oh, so this is going to be a really interesting race. We've seen how chaotic the pit lane is. So for a 2 pit stop race, it's going to be even more chaotic as we wait for the lights. Quite patiently, to be honest. They're actually taking quite a long time to go out this time. But yeah, 5 lights finally go out, and we're going to retire from the session, causing a yellow flag. So unfortunately, there's not going to be too many overtakes. But of course, we will be able to see into turn 1. You can see actually Vettel keeps position on Alonso, but Ricciardo actually defending from Carlos Sainz, who actually gains a position on Charles Leclerc. As we turn on the telemetry and lap data, you can see the biggest move is actually Raikkonen right now. Shady Onyx is actually down in position, as that's actually quite rare for him, as he goes through Eau Rouge, of course, having to take it careful because it is in the wet. But he manages to actually take it without spinning out, which is actually quite hard to do in this game. As Raikkonen is now going to come under attack from Perez after getting so many positions at the start. Grosjean, another big mover, is actually up 3 places as Perez will get Raikkonen. Raikkonen will try to defend the position as they go side by side. Shiny Onyx just watching these guys right now as they still go side by side and in the rain. This is going to be slowing them down a lot as they're already losing quite a lot of time to the cars ahead. They're still side by side and Shiny Onyx is still watching them patiently from behind as you can see Raikkonen is still up the inside of Perez and they're still side by side. So this is the only real battle right now. As you can see, actually Grosjean's all over the back of Shiny Onyx. So yeah, Shiny Onyx not the best start, to be honest. As you can see, once again, Perez up the inside of Raikkonen. They're still side by side. And Shiny Onyx is still waiting patiently behind these guys, just waiting for these guys to make a mistake. As Perez is still up the inside of Raikkonen. Can Raikkonen hold it around the outside? Of course, these guys have been doing quite well the last few races. Perez has normally been the best of the rest. And you can see, actually, holding each other up. And that's allows Shiny Onyx to close right up behind these guys. And they're already 3 seconds behind Ocon. So, really holding each other up. As you can see, actually, Ocon and Gasly for once actually doing quite well. Sainz Leclerc as well also doing well after quite a poor race last time out. The 2 Red Bulls also doing quite well. And Verstappen, he's actually dropped quite a bit back off the back of Alonso. As Vettel actually has quite a big lead out front. So, of course, he's trying to get as big a lead as possible so he doesn't get screwed up in the pit lane. Because, of course, if you don't have a 5-second lead, you literally get held in the pit lane no matter what. If you pit at the same lap as everyone else. You can see Grosjean versus Shiny Onyx. Shiny Onyx got Grosjean back as Grosjean actually, I don't know, has a little snap there. Shiny Onyx gave him plenty of room, but Grosjean just missing the apex completely. He's going to actually completely abandon the corner and fall right to the back. As you can see, it's actually
5-second stop go.
So it's a 5-second stop go, unfortunately, for Shiny Onyx for corner cutting as he loses out to Raikkonen after momentarily getting the position. And of course, he's been sandwiched by the two Finns right now in 10th and 12th. But once again, another 5-second stop go. It's not going to do Shiny Onyx's race any favours. As you can see, Hamilton.
He's inside me.
There's another lag spike. You see actually Shiny Onyx versus Kimi Räikkönen, and Kimi Räikkönen is going to try to put his wheel up the inside of Shiny Onyx. Shiny Onyx having to go straight onto the chicane in order to not get spun out. So a bit cheeky there, but to be honest, if he did turn in, he would have got spun out by the Ferrari. He wasn't backing out. Meanwhile, you can see Sainz versus Leclerc. I think Leclerc's trying to gain the position on Sainz after Sainz actually out-qualified him. But Leclerc's going to try to go the long way around the outside, and Sainz defends his position really well. So Sainz is having a good race, but he is 2.5 seconds behind the Red Bulls now, who in turn are still behind Alonso, but Alonso is now quite a long way behind Vettel as Raikkonen now gets Bottas. So I think Bottas has been shoved out a bit to dry. Actually no, Raikkonen's been shoved out a bit to dry because he's now 3 seconds behind Shiny Onyx, who's now on a real roll, trying to drive as fast as possible to sort of negate the time loss of his 5-second stop go. So you can see Hartley now up the inside of Magnussen. So Magnussen, after having such a good race last time out, after making full use of the overcut, now struggling a bit more this race. Talking about strugglers, you've got Hamilton, who's now right at the back of this train, and he's nearly getting overtaken by Ericsson. So Hamilton looks like he's not going to score points this race, or if he does, it's going to be down to strategy as Hartley goes wide. He loses position to Van Dorn, and oh my god, he may have got points last race, but this Kiri is disgusting at driving. He completely misses that corner and gets overtaken by the likes of Van Dorn. So not good right now. So you can see actually the top 11 have actually maintained position, so everything's ironed out after, of course, a few laps of chaos. As you can see now, Bottas behind Raikkonen. So even with all the moves, everyone still has actually pretty much maintained position, apart from the Baguette, who of course gained lots of positions, but then got ousted off the track a bit earlier. But you can see as well, Shiny Onyx taking some quite unusual lines, and as a result, he's going to do quite a bit of time to Raikkonen. So I don't know if he's got damage or anything, because that was quite.
Yeah, I had a front wing. My front wing's gone from turn 1.
Oh, you lost it into turn 1.
Turn 1, lap 1. Yeah.
Oh, unlucky. Of course, in the wet, they're always going to pile up on each other. As you can see, actually, Ricciardo behind Verstappen. And Verstappen's already a second behind Alonso. So the top two are beginning to pull away. And Alonso's actually keeping tabs with Vettel. So Alonso actually wanting to win the race. Of course, he is near the front. And so is Vettel for the time being. And the Red Bulls not doing as well as I thought they would in this career mode. They're still actually, I think, 4th in the Constructors. But being outdone by Renault right now. As you can see, actually, that's Verstappen battling to keep his position from Ricciardo. And this is losing them even more time. Even so, they have got a comfortable gap to P5, which is currently Carlos Sainz. So as long as they don't battle too hard, they should be able to pit and come out their pit box before these guys come in. Of course, that's basically the main factor in this career mode, as of course you have to be careful that you don't lose out in the pit lane. Meanwhile, you can see Shady Onyx is actually trying to regain the position on Raikkonen. Of course, he's got a bit of front ring damage, so it's not actually going to be too easy, as he actually tries to battle with Bottas, but Bottas is going to try to go around his outside. Bottas actually not making the corner in the end, being actually lucky not to lose out to Hulkenberg. So yeah, Shady Onyx just trying to nurse his wing damage until he has to serve his 5-second stop go. Of course, just waiting for the intermediates, because as he said, it's going to dry out towards the end of the race. As once again, you can see Leclerc all over the back of Sainz. So yeah, this is the battle for P5 right now. As again, you can see Ricciardo as well behind Verstappen. Verstappen now 2 seconds behind Alonso, who's actually nearly closed in to, I say DRS of Vettel. Of course, you don't have DRS in the wet, but he's nearly within the second window of Vettel, so he's done really well, to be honest, to keep up with Vettel, considering Hamilton pulled away so quickly last race. Meanwhile, Shady Onyx, I think he's binned the car. Actually, no, he's lost the position to Bottas, but he managed to save it, as he's now got Hulkenberg up his inside. Will he abandon the move? Will he try to go around the outside with wing damage? He wisely backs out of it in the end, but actually Hulkenberg goes slow, and Shady Onyx is going to go around the outside, and I don't know if he got an illegal overtake there, because he sort of took to the runoff area, but he's actually kept the position in the end, so yeah. Quite interesting move there, as now he's actually going to go into the pits and collects Hulkenberg. So Hulkenberg's been doing so well, he's now beached onto the side. So Shady Onyx, not really caring about Hulkenberg there, but he was...
I mean, I don't know where he was.
He was going into the pits, but I mean, Hulkenberg now finds himself stranded with wing damage, as Shady Onyx goes into the pits. So, I mean, yeah, Hulkenberg should have probably been a bit more careful of the cars going into the pits, but I think that's just a racing incident between the two. As Hamilton now finds himself up 4 positions as a result of Shady Onyx, Van Dorn and Hulkenberg into the pits. Meanwhile, we've got Ricciardo once again battling with Verstappen. Somehow they're still gaining on Sainz. I think that's because you've got Ericsson, sorry, not Ericsson, Leclerc also battling with Sainz. How dare I compare Ericsson to Leclerc? Ericsson's still down in 15th place. You can see as well Alonso keeping tabs with Vettel still, but not actually making too much headway, as Verstappen now finds himself 4 seconds behind Alonso. And once again, Verstappen, ever since the first round, he's never really found himself near the top 3. Even when he is in the top 3, he's a long way up the top 2. As there's actually yellow flags in sector 2. That's actually Perez, who's been doing so well all career mode, now finds himself out of the race as he pulls off to the side. He's not going to actually hinder anyone, but you can see there's a massive gap between Raikkonen and Ocon. So Ocon, the top 8 look pretty set right now, and so do the top 2. And other big gaps are probably Hulkenberg and Grosjean, but of course Hulkenberg had to sort of... Actually, I don't think he's coming to the pits yet. It's just he's got lots of damage, so he is much slower. As of course, we got Shady Onyx, who finds himself way behind Van Dorn. So I don't know what happened there.
The penalty and the front wing.
So yeah, now he finds himself quite a long way behind Van Dorn. Of course, we have to wait till Perez gets overtaken, but now he has. You can see it's a 12.6 second gap, so he's got a lot to overcome. But he is on inters, I think he is. So is Van Dorn. Oh, he's on wet. So Van Dorn's on inters. So Van Dorn's gambling it. So yeah, unfortunately, Shady is getting screwed up by his pit crew. But now people are in. This will be interesting. Are they on inters? Because only Vettel and Ricciardo have come in.
Let me know.
And they've actually, Ferrari have double stacked, so they've really gambled on the tyre strategy, if they are going on inters. And yeah, it looks like they are. Vettel's on inters, so is Ricciardo. And Vettel could be sacrificing a race lead, but at the same time, as he's gone in where it isn't that busy, he could actually be gaining quite a bit of time, because of course, the less people in the pit lane, of course, the more time you gain, as we saw from Magnussen last race, as Ricciardo's going to come out in P12, and Vettel P9. So, yeah, he's actually ahead of quite a few runners. And he's actually right, so actually nearly a pit stop ahead quite a lot of guys already as a result of gaining so much off the start. Meanwhile, you've got Sainz battling for P3 with Leclerc, as you can see Verstappen staying out, so not opting to double stack like the Ferraris. But yeah, Ricciardo, Raikkonen and Vettel, this would be interesting to see how they do, but you can see Raikkonen 9.5 seconds behind Ricciardo, so he's got a lot of clean air, and right now he isn't actually driving that fast, he's losing time to Ricciardo, as I think Hamilton also pits, so I think no, I didn't. Bottas stayed out, so Hamilton really gambling, and I think this is a really good strategy call from Hamilton, because if he is, as you can see, Van Dorn's also in inters, so the guys in the back all on inters, and this could work for Hamilton, because if he actually does cool the tyres right and gains quite a lot of time on the guys ahead, who surely will be coming in this lap, then he could find himself near the points. As Vettel now is trying to overtake Magnussen, who's on much lower tyres. Magnussen's going to go deep, and Vettel's going to get him, actually bashing Magnussen's tyre. Magnussen actually nearly goes out. He's actually going to get overtaken by Hartley, as he actually manages to catch a spin, and now he's got Grosjean right behind him. So Hamilton almost not caring about Magnussen there, and sort of colliding with him on the way through. And now Magnussen's now holding up Ricciardo, who is in the net P2 and all this. Vettel already 4 positions ahead of Ricciardo. So I think he's only got Alonso to battle with. So you never know. The overcut has worked before because of course these guys are in traffic. So as Verstappen, Alonso, and of course Leclerc. And Leclerc's staying out. Leclerc and Gasly are staying out as Carlos Sainz is in the pits. And these guys are gambling it another lap onto wets. So a lot of split strategies right now. As sure enough, these guys are on into this. So maybe it is still a crossover period because lots of guys staying out on wet still. And when will Alonso emerge? He's going to emerge as there's a slight lag spike behind Vettel. Actually, no, side by side with Vettel. So the overcut once again actually doing quite well. He will lose out in the run. So I think they're actually quite equal, to be honest. As Van Dorn sets the fastest lap, confirming my suspicions that it is definitely Inter's now. So I don't know what Leclerc and Gasly are hoping for. As Verstappen now finds himself in the net P3, he's made the overcut work on Ricciardo. Hartley stayed out, so both Toro Rossos, I don't know if they're trying to stay out until the dries, because that would be a wondrous call if it works, because Ocon stayed out as well. All the French baguettes have stayed out pretty much, apart from Grosjean. As you can see now, Verstappen's actually going to get overtaken by Hartley on wet tyres, so maybe it's not Inter's. I don't know, because Verstappen makes a mistake on the Inter's, and Hartley's trying to shove his way through, and it's going to be losing Verstappen a lot of time. As you can see, Ricciardo right behind these two. Of course, this is the battle for the podium pretty much, if well, Hartley's not really part of it right now, but he could be. As actually, I think Leclerc, if he gets the strategy call right, him, Gasly, and Ocon could be near the front because they could be holding out until dries. But it's going to have to be a long way if they're going to do that, and they've only got a 9-second gap to Alonso, so Alonso should be catching them fast, and sure enough he is. Alonso's overtaken Vettel on the fresher tyres, so I've actually seen that, but Alonso's actually overtaken Vettel, and Vettel's actually lost out the lead, so the overcut actually working once again, as Verstappen's made it work, and he's already pulled quite a bit of a lead on Hartley now, as Hartley's now holding up Daniel Ricciardo, so of course both Aussies slash Kiwis sort of not actually being kind to each other. As you can see, Sainz as well on his outlap, and Sainz actually in all of this is a net P5. Of course, it depends on Leclerc, and for once, I think the grid order actually might be shaping the race because, of course, there are quite a few strategies. So nobody's actually been held in the pits like other races. So this actually could be a race won on strategy, as Hartley still isn't going to let these guys through. Of course, he is entitled to if he is on a different strategy, but these guys still staying out. Surely they're waiting till dries now, because there's lap 7, they still haven't pit, and yeah, if they pit now, they'll be suicide because Alonso is closing them down very quickly, and I'm beginning to wonder if they made a mistake. But kudos to them for trying a new strategy. That's something I like about the AI this year. They do try new different strategies, and you see Gasly he's actually going to try to overtake Leclerc for the lead of the race, as Leclerc's going to try to defend. Of course, he has to try to defend this because he is in the championship fight right now as Leclerc, currently in P3, but this could easily be P1 again if he wins the race, because of course Bottas and Hamilton, it seems to be always the leaders, are doing really badly, because you can see Hamilton and Bottas are struggling, as Hartley's actually going to be finally overtaken by Ricciardo, who moves himself up into a net P4 in all of this. I don't know about what the Frenchmen are doing up front, because if they actually are staying out, they could be in a good position, but Alonso is closing them down to 4 seconds, so you've got to admit Alonso looks like he's in the prime seat right now. As you can see, actually Hamilton is in P13 right now, and you never know, he's at the back of this train. He could actually make stuff work if he can get through these guys. You got the likes of Hartley actually holding up this train right now on the wet tyres, so Hartley's dropped a long way back behind the Red Bulls, and now he's holding up Sainz, who's now been backed up into Raikkonen. So actually the guys staying out could be actually gaining on Carlos Sainz, because he is getting held up so much, but meanwhile Alonso is definitely gaining on them much quicker. Unfortunately, there's a massive gap between the Red Bulls. Verstappen finds himself way ahead of Ricciardo, but way behind Vettel. So I think the main battle now is the battle for P1 on which is battle for P4 on track. But you can see Vettel gaining on Alonso very quickly. This may look like being a move for Sebastian Vettel, and he's actually going to back out of it, I think. Not quite going as fast as Alonso through that kink there. As Alonso will keep his net P1, as the guys still stay out, but sure enough they're going to be caught this lap, definitely. Alonso's got them down to 2 seconds from 9, and once again they set the fastest laps, showing the track is dying out and it looks nowhere near dries. So unless they're going to try to stretch these wets to the end, which I think is going to be suicide at this rate. Even so, there is actually quite a big gap between the Red Bulls and Sainz now. So yeah, you know, maybe it could work, as Hamilton now gets ahead of Hartley, who's now in the pits. So Hartley finally thinking enough is enough, and he's made the worst strategy call of the night, to be honest, because I mean there's no way that pitting in this lap is going to do him any good, as he actually going to filter right through the field. I wouldn't be surprised if he emerges at the back. Yeah, this has finally relinquished these guys, but Sainz finds himself 8 seconds behind the top 5, as you can see Vettel now overtaking Alonso. Alonso going to side by side. This is for the race lead, because it looks like these guys will definitely catch up to the top 3 now, as actually Gasly's been overtaken by Ocon, so Leclerc has actually had a chance to pull away out front. So Leclerc might have a bit of a buffer if needed, as Vettel now retakes the lead. Hartley will come out just ahead of Shady Onyx, but it will be close. You see, Shady Onyx is actually going to try to get him on the straight. So we flip to his point of view. He might have the slipstream in the battle for, unfortunately, last place as a result of all the Shady Onyx's issues. So his season goes from bad to worse, just as he really had a good qualifying. So very unfortunate there. Yeah, as we scroll through the order, Vettel actually not making as much headway as I thought this lap. He still has closed the gap down, so it looks like it will definitely be a Vettel/Alonso win. Even so, if Leclerc is staying out to the end, he could actually hold on, because he is beginning to pull a gap on these guys. So if they don't get past Gasly and Ocon really quickly, you never know, Leclerc could win. So this is a really interesting race, and 3 title contenders, being Vettel, Alonso and Leclerc, could find themselves catapulted into the lead through. And I don't know about the Red Bulls as well. Will the Red Bulls be able to catch up these guys right now? Because Vettel's caught up to them. Alonso's caught up to them. But will the Red Bulls, because the Red Bulls are quite a long way behind. But of course, Vettel has to be careful. If he's not quick getting past Gasly and Ocon, then first of all, he's not going to get the lead from Leclerc. And second of all, the Red Bulls can close in. As you see, Verstappen's already closed them down to 3.5 seconds. And unfortunately, there's a bit of a DRS train, because Ocon's actually going to be giving the DRS to Gasly. So Vettel could actually find himself actually still behind Gasly at the end of the straight. As you can see, I think back there, back at the back as well, Hartley still under attack from the likes of Shady Onyx. But you can see Vettel within 2 tenths, but he's not actually gaining on Gasly. He's gaining a bit, but not enough to make a move. As Gasly's going to try to make a move on Ocon. Ocon's going to break. Ocon's going to force him right, and actually they tag each other, and that's going to lose them even more time. And this is allowing Leclerc to pull away. Leclerc could have pulled a master call on the strategy, because right now he's actually in the prime seat. But Vettel's going to try to go around the outside of Gasly. Gasly goes defensive, but it surely will be nothing on the inside. Vettel should be able to go around the outside, and sure enough, he's going to power around the outside of a Courtney you're not meant to go around the outside on, and he gets the position of Gasly. And if he can get Ocon, Vettel could still win the race, but Alonso needs to be quick as well, because he now has got the likes of Verstappen behind him, and Verstappen will be wanting a podium himself, as right now it looks like Leclerc could be getting a podium. So he's played it actually brilliantly. Ocon and Leclerc have played it quite well. Even so, they will be rolling through the field now. So will Gasly, as the leaders will come through to take their positions. As you can see, the Mercedes have done quite well to salvage a really bad qualifying. Hamilton actually nearly behind his teammate, and he's actually in the top 10. So I don't know what's happened to Raikkonen and Van Dorn, but they've sort of been pushed out. And of course the 2 Haas drivers as well also struggling. As we I think Shiny Onyx had another issue, because he's now 9 seconds behind Hartley. As you can see, Alonso now getting past Gasly at long last, as Vettel also gets past Ocon up ahead, and Vettel now has to be in search of Charles Leclerc. Of course, it's drying out really quickly, so the inserts are going to be much faster than the wets. Will Leclerc be able to hold on with a 4-second gap? It's going to be really interesting. Split strategies, of course, really deciding this race. As you can see, Alonso now going to be setting off in search of Ocon, and of course, he could still get P2, because Vettel is gaining really fast on Charles Leclerc. So Leclerc has got a lot to do if he wants to hold on. Of course, he has to be within 2 seconds a lap of Vettel, which is easier said than done on a drying track. As you can see, Verstappen as well is also going to have to try to get past Gasly if he wants to get inside the top 5. As Valtteri Bottas sets the fastest lap, so the Mercedes unfortunately won't get any higher than the top 8, I think, but they are beginning to do well. Even so, we've got a battle brewing between our podium sitters last round, so that should be quite interesting. As Alonso is going to try to get Ocon, and Alonso now finds himself in a podium position. So the 2 people who started 1 and 2 will now move themselves into 2 and 3. But right now it is down to Leclerc. As you can see, Ocon having a real slide on there on the wets. As Ricciardo is now going to join in the fun, as he's going to catch up to the back of Gasly. But still, Sainz is 8-9 seconds behind these guys. So I think all of the guys on wets should have the top 7 in the bag, so they've done a really good strategy, and that's why I don't know why Hartley pits, because he was actually in quite a good position. So he's been a real idiot. I've got to say, as Max Verstappen now right on the back of Ocon, and he's to try to get past him quickly, because I think Vettel definitely looks like he's going to win the race. He's already actually closed in the 2 seconds a lap he needed for this lap. He's going to have to overtake Leclerc though. As you can see, Verstappen gets Ocon around the outside. Ocon's going to get him back. Verstappen, that's not what he needs. Is he, Ocon actually gets a slide on, and that's going to allow Verstappen to retake the position. As you see, actually, Ricciardo also is actually closed up to these guys. So Ricciardo also has a shout off the top 4, but Verstappen finally having quite a good race. But I think that's going to be the best he's going to get, because I think Leclerc might still be on for P2 right now. He's on a no-stop strategy. Leclerc is actually nursing these tyres to the end on the track, which really isn't wet anymore. Just a credit to how good he is at driving. As Ricciardo now gets Ocon, there's yellow flags. I don't know what they're for. As Gasly actually overtakes Ocon. So I don't know. Ocon's on the parked in the middle of the road. Oh no, Ocon! And I don't know what's happened. He's in the middle of the road, and he's actually moving over. And as a result, Hamilton's gonna have to slow down. So I don't know what he's doing. He's surely going to have to peel into the pits. No, he's not. He's actually back up to racing speed again. But he's all the way down to P9 after what looked like a good result for him. Meanwhile, you can see Vettel on the final lap, right behind Leclerc for the battle for the lead. Can Leclerc hold on? I don't think he can. But he's done an absolute wondrous strategy call to be flexible himself from P6 into what should be a guaranteed podium at this rate. Meanwhile, you can see Ricciardo right in the back of Verstappen as well. But will Vettel be able to make a move on Leclerc? Vettel's going to go to the outside. Leclerc's going to defend. He's going to go deep and actually going to cover up the position. So for now, Leclerc is in the lead of the race still. And you never know. I think Alonso's closed a lot on these guys. But can Leclerc hold on? If he can, he's definitely driver of the day. He's played the strategy to perfection. I thought there'll be 2 stops this race. He's managed to do it on a 0 stop. As you can see, Hamilton now battling with Ocon. I think Hamilton's finally got past Ocon, who is on the wets, of course. As Ricciardo also right behind Verstappen, so that should be hotting up soon. But you see Vettel right over the back of Leclerc, and this is the battle we want to focus on. The battle for P1 now is between the top 3 drivers, and Leclerc still holds on against Vettel. But surely Vettel should be able to get a good run here and maybe diving up the inside on those fresher tyres. But no, Leclerc is still defending, and Vettel just can't find their way past. Even so, these wet tyres are well past their sell-by date on a trying track. Oh my goodness me. Can Leclerc hold on? You've only got 1 sector to go. I don't think he can hold on into bus stop. And he actually could come under attack from Alonso as well, as we go on board with Alonso. Verstappen slightly too far back to really challenge for this win. But Leclerc has done a massive job to actually make this strategy work. Well, at one point he was behind Gasly. Gasly's now P6. As Vettel's going to go up the inside of Leclerc. Leclerc's forced wide. And no, he's lost 2 positions as Vettel forces Leclerc wide. Vettel's going to maintain his pole position to take the win. And for the first time, the top 2 in qualifying will be the top 2 in the race, as Leclerc unfortunately can't spoil the party, losing 2 positions on the final straight. Verstappen will get P4 for quite a good result in the end. Gasly will limp home on his wet P6, which is really good for him. 3 seconds ahead of Sainz, but you got to admit, Leclerc did a huge job to pull such a gap on Gasly, considering they were side by side. As we wait for the last few runners to cross the line, what a race really. Leclerc doing really well, but unfortunately not quite hanging on, as we got Shady Onyx on the dry tyres. I don't know if he's trying to set a fastest lap. I don't know how long he's been on them, but they don't look at the white tyres. And unfortunately, I think he is going to retire from the race, because he's
I'm going to finish it.
Not at this rate, you're not. I think it's just best if you retire. Sorry, son.
No, I shall finish this race. So,
okay, fine. If Shady Onyx is adamant he wants to finish this race, I will run through your order. You got Sebastian Vettel out in front, 3 tenths ahead of Fernando Alonso. Leclerc will be within a second of the leaders. In the end, actually, the top 5 separated by less than 2.5 seconds. But yeah, Leclerc doing a brilliant job to hold on it up until the final corner, penultimate corner, in which unfortunately he was mugged by Vettel and Alonso. Of course, you couldn't really do much on those wet tyres. The Inter's definitely the tyres to be on, as Shady Onyx is perfectly demonstrating. It's definitely not dry yet. You can see as well.
I don't have a front wing.
I know, but I mean, still.
No, it's DRS enabled.
Oh really? Okay, so maybe 1 or 2 more laps we could have seen. So that's just testament to Leclerc even more. Leclerc, Gasly and Ocon making the tyres last, first of all, and doing it on a track which was about to become dry.
When they crossed the line, it was DRS enabled.
Oh really? So Ocon as well actually falling outside the points in the end. Raikkonen will get the final points position, as Hamilton up 9 positions, so he did well. He was the biggest mover of the race.
Place.
Again, you got Ocon in P11. Van Dorn P12, Ericsson P13. So Van Dorn and Ericsson not as bad as usual. Hartley, I don't know what he was doing. He was actually poised to be quite actually near the top 10, if not in the top 10. Of course, we saw the other guys on the wets finished in the top 10 as Shady Onyx We're still waiting on him to finish. But yeah, he actually was amongst the other drivers in the top 10. As I think that's the screen. What happened there? Oh my god, my game just crashed. So yeah, can you share screen quickly?
Yeah, 1 minute. Oh wait, it closes my thing.
It's fine, just share screen. Yeah, sorry, technical difficulties. As we finish off the recording, but yeah, as I was saying, good job there for some of the drivers to come back like they did. As we have a look onto the race.
I think my game's gonna crash.
Results, you can see the podium. Leclerc in the end getting a podium. Brilliant job in the end. Vettel though getting the win from pole position. Alonso P2. So yeah, that's the first time the top two have finished top two in the race. So as we look to the actual race results, I've already run through them. So I think we should skip on straight to the driver's standings. So yeah, you can see actually as we scroll to the top. You can see it's actually Sebastian Vettel with that win. So once again, the winner takes the lead of the championship. He's actually 8 points ahead of Hamilton now after a slow start. Who's now 2 points ahead of Leclerc and Alonso as well. So the top four, well, between second and fourth, they're separated by 3 points. So that's looking really interesting going into the final 5 races. Bottas, P5, slips down a bit after being P2, of course, coming into this race. Hulkenberg and Perez. Actually being sandwiched now by the Red Bulls, who both on 53 points after they get good results. Unfortunately, Perez falling down through the field after he was best of the rest. As you look onto now, you can see Raikkonen still P10, but he's still got quite a bit of a gap to the Red Bulls, who are finally getting their act together. But as we look at the bottom, once again, it is actually Gasly moves up a few positions after making that strategy work. He actually overtakes his teammate, and about time, because he's been doing much better than his teammate. His teammate absolutely bottling the strategy. But yeah, as we look through the final order, I think the bottom remains unchanged. As we move on to the constructors, it's actually a different story, with Red Bull actually getting ahead of Renault in the end by 14 points, and Renault now come under attack from McLaren, of course, after Alonso's been doing so well. Unfortunately, Sainz just hasn't been doing well enough to sort of consolidate Hulkenberg. As a result, I think Renault are soon going to slip down to maybe even 6th place if they're not careful, because Leclerc's doing such a good job as well. Of course, McLaren and Alfa Romeo are basically being carried by one guy, Van Dorn Ericsson. But yeah, that will be it for this recording. So yeah, see you next time.